What's going on there, Nova Squad? My name is Nova. Welcome back to the channel. So, if you guys don't really know, man, I really love superhero movies, superhero gaming, and everything. As you can see, you got the Marvel comic book right there, along with the Captain America poster, along with the Marvel's poster. But I also love crazy games. So, one game I really actually enjoyed playing, it was a Prototype Part 1 and 2. Mostly part two because it was more flushed out. But what was the big deal on the game? Let's find out, shall we?
The original prototype was released in the summer of 2009 for PC, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360, and told the tale of a Dr. Alex Mercer, a guy who wakes up in a lab with no memories and quickly realizes he has freakish biological superpowers.
That's him.
Yeah, oh my god. I miss playing this game, man, for real.
Now, you were in New York City being ravaged by biological warfare and a grotesque virus thing called blacklight. It's turning people into monsters. So between the monsters and an occupying military force, you have a lot of stuff to kill with your newfound powers. Alex Mercer's abilities are kind of like parasitic in nature. You know, he absorbs shit, basically. And he's a shapeshifter,
Yeah,
so you
basically
can take on the appearance of civilians or soldiers to get into bases around the city or just avoid detection or pursuers. It was fun, but simple social stealth. Now, the real magic that Alex Mercer was hiding was super strength and the ability to form weapons out of his arms. That's where the chaos really begins. So you roam this pretty decent open world New York City, sprinting super fast down streets, automatically leaping over cars and objects in your way, running straight up skyscrapers, and jumping massive heights and distances.
Yeah,
and
man.
as you grow in power, eventually you'll be gliding around the city, getting around super fast. And as you grow stronger, different arm weapons and attacks are at your disposal. Spikes shooting out of the ground, massive Tyrant Resident Evil style claws, and cool arm blades, and the ability to heavily armor yourself. Stuff had different use cases, like, you know, the heavy blunt hammer fists were better for taking down vehicles, like if you wanted to, I don't know, punch a tank in the face or something.
Which kind of didn't really make any sense with the blades and the tank, but it was so awesome. Either way it went.
Now, all of this was pretty satisfying to execute, and as you progressed and earned points, you were able to unlock extensions of all your abilities that made things even more complex and useful. Aerial attacks, higher jumps, harder hits, recoveries, sprint attacks, more AoE or area of effect attacks, along with higher powered critical mass mode that gave you harder attacks temporarily. Now, as you played the game, the city got more and more chaotic, and things could get pretty wild as you're being hunted and basically spammed by missile attacks from every direction. Now, that level of being like an ultra powerful badass, but also still having some video game challenge was fun. There was excitement in it.
It was very fun.
Even in some of the disguise sections too. Like, just the more abilities you had, the more awesome you felt. But the world was also more threatening in certain spots as everything intensified. And the story was pretty typical, but it was at least somewhat interesting if you enjoyed kind of cheesy, schlocky, comic book style stuff. Lots of secret laboratories, lots of backstabbing. Alex Mercer is very much giving off that, I didn't ask for this.
The last person responsible for all of this dies tonight.
If we make it out of here, you think you're ready?
I was made for this.
With his little hoodie, but it was pretty cool. I actually thought it was
It was
worth
cheesy,
seeing
but,
through
you
to
know,
the end.
it was still
Now, I
good.
think the game was just mostly a big deal because it was all so fun to play. It was a good time for superhero games that were completely new and not attached to Marvel or DC. I mean, like, Prototype and Infamous basically released in the same window. So in a sea of open world games, when that was really all the rage, gliding and super fast running and shapeshifting was way more fun than just stealing a car and driving around and crashing.
You know, it's funny because he actually had mentioned that this isn't really tied to Marvel and DC, but I want to say in the game, right around in like in the, a time scroll where I forget where inside the game it is, but like it's where like that one building is when like it's in like a diamond form. There's a DC poster as a billboard. So like at first I thought it was tied into the DC universe, but I mean wouldn't make any sense because like that's where, well, no, because in DC you got the Ninja Turtles in New York. So yeah, it probably wouldn't even make any sense. So no.
Because it was fresh. To leap tall buildings in a single bound, to run super fast down a city street, or elbow drop onto your enemies and make them explode into blood from jumping from the top of the Empire State Building. That's just dumb, good video game fun. And even with that, it still had that open world crime simulator vibe, kind of, because you could just do whatever you wanted. Do some side objectives, or just, you know, kill everything in sight. When Mercer would jump, the ground would crack beneath your feet. Enemies big and small spilled a bunch of blood. Cars, tanks, and trucks exploded, and it was just crazy fun destruction. Now for me, one of the real noteworthy things about these games, the story that gets lost in the sauce, is the developers, Radical Entertainment. They had been around for a long time, like the early 90s, when they were making things like the Terminator NES game. But their pedigree is absolutely insane. Like, these Canadian developers did Dark Summit, The Simpsons Road Rage, The Simpsons Hit and Run, the Scarface game, and the later Crash Bandicoot games like Crash of the Titans and Mind Over Mutant. Not my thing. But also, they did The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
That game was good.
Like one of the most underrated Marvel comic character games ever made. Probably one of the better Hulk games by quite some margin. It took you as the Incredible Hulk and dropped you in an open world city.
It was this one, and then the PS3 version was. This was the PS2 version, I think it was.
Give the next level of nerds a spin. Nerds Gummy Clusters. Shake things up.
Do more on the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra with Google Lens.
You had all of Hulk's powers and only got stronger and stronger. And you ran up and jumped over buildings. You smashed tanks. Yeah, does this sound familiar? It's almost like Radical were destined to make the prototype games. They've just made some cool, fun 2000s games. You know, what I was kind of referring to at the start, you know, they did licensed stuff, they did TV show games, they did CSI games, they did a Dark Angel game, remember Dark Angel? But they did NHL games, extreme sports games. You know, really not, of course, like a top-tier Golden Child studio, but making solid, awesome, fun stuff that 2000s kids were primed for. Radical Entertainment also then made a sequel, Prototype 2.
Please. Just let me go, man. Please.
I like this one, man, for real. Like, they both had their pros and cons, but it just... something about Prototype 2 was really good.
That was gorier and crazier. In this one, you actually played as Soldier James Heller, who is even more powerful and comes off, you know, more like a human wrecking ball. The game had better AI, tendril powers to grab stuff and throw stuff, more of a dodge, using big weapons you rip off of vehicles, more disguise stuff, and more meaningful leveling up. Now, plot-wise, it actually pits you against Alex Mercer, which was pretty slick and an interesting twist. In a lot of ways, the whole thing was an improvement, you know, more mindless killing, but finer around the edges, and with a bit more to do.
Yeah, pretending as a soldier, it was very, very cool. Well, to be one of the soldiers that you are
personally still enjoyed the first game a bit more. I think it was just more of nostalgia or something. I don't know. But they both are special to people who are itching for these types of games. And definitely special enough because they sold well. Prototype 2 topped the charts the month it released. And then, of course, it was also apparently good enough for them to re-release it in 2015 for modern consoles, you know, PS4 and Xbox One. Like, I don't think the Fortnite generation was certainly running to go buy this game. But everyone else looking for a trip down memory lane, some 2000s cheese? Yeah, man, you betcha. Now, unfortunately, in this story, like with a lot of video game studios, things get complicated. Apparently, Radical had a lot of fun projects in the works that never saw the light of day. You know, there's another Scarface game that has been unveiled by a YouTuber, a Spider-Man 4, and possibly another prototype game. Now, Radical was part of Vivendi, and then that was merged with Activision in the Activision Blizzard merger of 2008. And then, after a few years, there were some layoffs, and then Prototype 2 came out and was, despite doing considerably well internally at Activision, not good enough. And I quote, significant reduction of staff happened. Radical still technically, I think, exists under the big corporate umbrella that was Activision and now has been swallowed up by Xbox. But the last thing they worked on was actually support for Destiny, like Destiny 1. They were a support backup studio for a game from 2014. So yeah, that seems to be it, man, at least for now. Thanks to mergers, acquisitions, and dissolving things, it happens often in games, and it always sucks for storied studios, or really anybody that made something that we loved. Anyway, wow, long tangent, history lesson over. Prototype is cool, and if you like junk food games, good dumb fun, you should play it. That's it. The end. But really, that's it. That's what we thought made Prototype a big deal. To be honest, it's not a super complicated answer. It's not about a complex story or new incredible technology. It's just the fact that the game was kind of fun and gory, and people liked it. I know that might sound like, well, duh, yeah, but like sometimes we need to be reminded of that simple fun stuff, you know? So we want to hear from you guys down in the comments. If you've played Prototype 1 and 2, what do you think? Which do you prefer? And did you play the re-release versions or the original versions? Did you play on PC? Let's talk about anything Prototype down in the comments. If you like this video, this trip down memory lane, or maybe we just pointed you towards a game that you never would have checked out otherwise, either way, clicking the like button does help us out. So thank you. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
That was a great video, man. That was a great video on that part. What the heck? My mouse go? Over here. Here we go. Cool. What happened to my internet? Weird. But yeah, man. So the thing is, I really love part 2 a lot, because I remember when the first game came out. It was 2009, and I was how old was I? I had been in middle school or something, and then I remember when I was trying to go buy the game through GameStop. Trying to buy it online, and then it kept asking me, am I over the age of 18 now? And then I will lie about it. Then I ended up getting it. And then around that time, I was just like bragging towards my friends about like how crazy it is and how just so different I felt, because I really loved the whole RPG aspects to the games or whatever. But just part 2 just blew it like out of the water when it came to just like extra powers being stronger, and then you were pitting up against the main protagonist in part 1, which like I actually never really thought that he was like a villain, whatever, until I actually got kind of think about it. I was like, yeah, he did some messed up things, but I don't know. I just really like that man for real. But anyways, if you guys really enjoyed this reaction channel, if you guys really enjoyed this reaction video, make sure you hit this like button and subscribe and share. Let me know in the comment section down below what you react to next. Thank you so much for watching. And again, my name is Nova. Then I'll see you guys next episode. Peace.